A-Plusers? It is I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new videos. We're set to go ahead and get into Zenkaiger episode number 40, and what an episode it was, man. It took me a minute to actually get the opportunity to sit down and watch it, but I'm so glad I got the opportunity to finally check it out, especially just a couple of days before Christmas time, honestly. Perfect opportunity to certainly check it out, to be honest with you guys, but I was really impressed. You know, guys, I mentioned this before. There is a love-hate relationship between me and Zenkaiser, or Zenkaiger, I should certainly say. But it is one of those things where I do feel like, for the most part, they're really nailing it as we get closer towards the end of this particular series, really rounding itself off nicely with a lot of storylines kind of really coming together. Definitely have some questions in regards to how other things will certainly be resolved, but when it comes to Kaito, Stacy, Hakaiser storyline, seeing Kaito's father and things like that, I've truly enjoyed this story that they wind up putting together in here. And if I could be perfectly honest with you, it really did bring a tear to my eye. I actually did find myself crying a little bit at the end of this episode. It was just so incredibly well done, from just the action to all the heartfelt sort of emotional moments. You really understand what all these moments truly mean to a lot of these characters, and the way that they were able to showcase that, getting the opportunity to see everybody really rallying around Kaito, just honestly did it for me. And you guys know, I've mentioned this before, when it comes to father and son relationships, I love truly seeing them just blossom on screen and really be pivotal parts of a storyline. It's one of those things where I just love seeing those type of relationships, especially when it leads to something really positive, because I do think really positive messages between fathers and sons really should be put out there into the world, honestly. And so I'm really impressed with what we wind up getting here when it comes to episode number 40. But real quick, we got to talk about the kaiju in the room here, and that is in fact the Hakaiju-Oh that we wind up getting the opportunity to see in this episode to really begin off with, right? We saw a tease of it towards the end, some of the potential of what it could certainly do, but this thing was terrifying in this episode to go ahead and start off. I mean, it definitely felt very much like a kaiju monster attacking the city, getting the opportunity to realize that it's powered up, if you will, from a portion or even a fraction of Overlord Bokawasa's power. And if that says anything in regards to what Bokawasa and his royal family are certainly capable of, it should make the Zenkaigers certainly shake in their boots, just knowing that it's just a fraction of really what Overlord Bokawasa can certainly bring to the table, if we do get sort of a main battle between our Zenkaigers and him certainly going forward. But Hakaiser's got an upgrade in here, guys. Ijirude has been putting Bokawasa's power to extremely good use. Hakaiser's got himself a sweet-ass cape, new little bit of a design in regards to his suit also. Absolutely love what he looks like, and it definitely does remind me of just the super power ups that we've got for Zenkaiger, along with Kaiser in here, getting the opportunity to see that, similar to how Kaiser grows using you know, Katana and Ricky into like the head of the Zenkaiju-Oh, getting it very reminiscent to that of even Zenkaiser himself turning into the Zenkaiju-Oh and the whole like dragon formation and things like that. So to see what the Hakaiju-Oh looks like, and then seeing him transform sort of back into Hakaiser itself, I absolutely love just all the similarities that we're certainly getting there, which certainly surprised me, right? Like when Ijirude's technically stealing Kaito's parents' technology and using it for himself, there clearly are going to be a bunch of similarities between the two. But I absolutely loved it. Like, just the Hakaiju-Oh, incredible design. Really love what they were able to do just with the costume itself, and getting the opportunity to see Hakaiju facing off against Zenkaiju-Oh. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. It felt very King of the Monsters to me. Hakaiju-Oh, if I can't remember if I was pronouncing that, said that right or not, but it definitely did feel very much like King of the Monsters sort of battling, right? Like not quite sort of Godzilla versus King Kong, but it felt more like Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla. And so I was definitely here for that battle to certainly see what they were able to do. And then even getting to see him face off against the full power Zenkai-Oh in here. You know, while I am very critical on maybe some of the CGI, at least when it comes to battles in the city, the CGI for the movements of the full power Zenkai-Oh, just based off of how big it is, I actually do love its movements. I love the way that the effects certainly work for it. My issue that I have is usually the surroundings, again, the buildings and the streets, and it just feels very empty and just not finished sort of thing. But when it comes to the Zord itself, it's a really cool design. So I love the battles that we wind up getting in this particular episode, but that's not really what carries this episode. What truly carries this episode is the relationship between Kaito and his dad. And I really loved a lot of the hard decisions some of our characters had to make, even some of the frustration that we see with Zox in this episode, right? The idea of Zox getting maybe a little bit upset at Kaito in the sense of, had we just gone through with my plan, if we just tried to attack this quicker, we wouldn't necessarily be in this position that we certainly are. But even despite his frustrations, I think him seeing the seriousness that Kaito is taking, sort of this final stance, definitely sort of gets him on board and kind of throws out any animosity or frustrations that he certainly might have with some of the decisions that Kaito has certainly made. The fact that he's willing to go that extra length of maybe not killing Hakaiser, but I think he says something like, if this battle with Hakaiju-Oh doesn't go well, I'm contemplating the idea of thrusting him like in the space between worlds, or like on a completely different planet sort of thing, right? Not killing him, but sort of abandoning him, leaving him where he can do the least amount of destruction sort of thing. And I even love some of the symbolism that we got in this episode, right? Like there's a scene in here right after the very first battle. We see Kaito going down and helping some of the people on the street, moving some of the rubble out of the way. And Kaito runs across a destroyed Christmas tree. And I love the fact that Homeboy literally goes and picks it up like it's a lifeless body. Like he just discovered the death of like one of his friends, right? And I definitely goes to showcase, I think, just what he understands the importance and the meaning of Christmas, to see just how terrible things are going, how they're falling apart around each other, just right near the holiday season, right near his birthday sort of thing, when it should be a moment of joy and hope, right, for everybody around him. Just to kind of see that destruction, I think that allows him to understand this has got to be it, right? Like we can't continue to keep going down this road and keep fighting without being successful. So he makes a very bold decision in here to make sure that this is a full power sort of a last attempt that they're definitely going to go ahead and make towards his dad. And again, just the camaraderie of this team, something that we've seen building all season long, how close they certainly are, having a bestie and somebody like Jurin to always have your back, right, and kind of help build that momentum with the other Kikai-noids around them as part of the team. And just kind of see everybody having their back. I absolutely loved seeing everybody kind of come together for this. And it really made for a great battle towards the end, honestly. The idea of, having Zenkaiger and two Kaiser face off against the Zenkaiju, or face off against the Hakaiju-Oh, by themselves, and allowing the rest of the Zenkaiger teams, the Kikai-noids, to go ahead and be the one to fight Hakaiser himself. And the fact that Jurin decides, this battle can't be won with power or fists or punches sort of thing. He wants it to be done with love. I thought was a really great take and a great attempt in regards to how you probably should handle this particular battle, right? Trying to speak to the man underneath all the brainwashing. And the fact that they literally had like cue cards with pictures on them and stuff, and are holding them up and showcasing big pivotal moments in the professor's life to kind of really draw those out and have him remember who he certainly was and the life that he certainly lived prior to it. Just really powerful stuff, man. I love seeing the opportunity that they took just creatively when it comes to writing this series, to have this be the battle, right? Instead of how much power and explosions can we throw this man's way in order to drain him, the way to go is to certainly get to his mind first, and then have him sort of drain himself with all his fighting and abilities and things like that. And so I just thought it was a really brilliant plan. And I thought, for us as a viewer to kind of see those big pivotal moments for the professor, Kaito's father, one, we got to learn a little bit more about him, and it really became a sense of, how could you forget these moments? You know what I mean? It's really hard to fathom somebody not being able to have those memories still attached to them. So I thought it was a really brilliant plan by Jurin and the rest of the team to fight this battle through love and through memories and things like that. So I'm glad that it wound up bringing it out. And even when we get to see Zenkaiser facing off against Hakaiser towards the end, the determination in Kaito's face alone, the seriousness in which he takes this moment, the final sort of remembrance of, I'm your son, and this is your creation, and the fact that he shows off the gear to linger, shows off the henshin sequence in that slow motion shot of Zenkaiser just walking up to his dad, and you just get the pieces of the suit coming on one, like getting to see Kaito in the suit with just his head exposed prior to his helmet. I thought it was a great shot. Even when the helmet does come on and it's like the blue eyes and the electricity kind of coming out, gave me chills, man, to certainly see. And then just the barrage of sort of firepower back and forth between these two before Kaito actually winds up sort of breaking through. It was just a really great epic moment, a great build-up to a very final moment for Kaito when it comes to his dad. And I gotta tell you, I honestly got choked up seeing Kaito's dad walk through the candy shop again. You know, I don't want to say we forget that Kaito's dad is also Yachan's son, but to kind of see a mother thrilled and happy that her son is safe and back in her arms, the "what took you so long" sort of moment as she's getting teary-eyed, like I literally got teary-eyed and started crying, and like major goosebumps, you know. Seeing him walk through the candy shop perfectly under, like, the shot selection alone, right under the Christmas tree logo and things like that. That's what Christmas should be about, right? Fulfilling wishes, bringing joy to the loved ones around you, sort of thing. And to have that moment happen during that holiday season, and seeing Kaito just embrace the three of them, sort of thing. Like, I'm getting goosebumps just honestly thinking about it. Like, it really was incredibly special and incredibly emotional. And for a Zenkaiger season that, again, I have been very up and down with, they have managed to really nail the emotional aspects of this particular series when it matters, right? Like, there is a lot of filler from time to time throughout this season. There is a lot of witty banter and back and forth nonsense from time to time. Very ADHD, can't really focus on what it wants to be or what it wants to do from time to time. But when it does focus, it knocks it out of the park for me. And so I really love just the emotional aspects and finally get an opportunity to see Kaito fulfill one of his wishes, and that is in fact at least getting back his dad. And next up, will be getting back his mom, which I'm assuming will happen here relatively soon. And a couple things to really look forward to, guys, right? Avatar Sentai Dawn Brothers is set to go ahead and release March 6th of this particular year, but we're supposed to be meeting the new Red Ranger in Dawn Momotaro in episode number 42, which I think drops January 9th. So I believe we have ourselves a week hiatus, and then the show certainly will be returning for episode 41, which looks, just from the preview alone, looks like it's another filler, or at least an out there sort of episode. So we'll see how the momentum really builds going back into this season, whether that be episode 41 or 42 when Dawn Momotaro makes his debut. So a lot to certainly look forward to as we get closer towards the end of this series. Quick honorable mention in here to a couple things. We did see a brand new gear utilized, or not a brand new gear, but a gear utilized in here in Die Ranger, as they used it as a distraction in order to kind of get away. And I also put in Stacy making the call in here to certainly help the team out by finding the schematics and the plans to Hakaiju-Oh and really how to go ahead and disable it, right? Like, this is how Kaiser knows how to infiltrate it, pull out his father and things like that, so they can just focus on destroying the gigantic mecha in here also. But to kind of see Stacy making that stance, there was a level of frustration that I had, because I honestly thought, like, him doing this and giving over the data chip, right, so they have that the schematics and stuff, I honestly thought for a second there, like when Ijiru sends down the Kudaks to try and stop the team from having Hakaiser remember, instead of Zox coming in or the ship itself, kind of who wind up, yeah, I believe it's the ship, Flint winds up using some of her barrage of weapons to kind of stop them. I honestly thought it was going to be Stacy. I honestly thought Stacy was going to finally man up and join the battle. So Stacy is still very much working behind the scenes, right? Like, he hasn't fully committed to the idea of showing his hand as of right now. He's still kind of, in the shadows sort of thing, helping out. This is his really like one of his first, if not maybe like second, big decisions to go ahead and actually help the team out when it comes to destroying them. And we clearly have seen his mindset changing over the time, right? Understanding that, in the past, he was very much just like Bara Shitara, treating Kaito the same way that Bara is treating him, right? So I think it was a really great come to Jesus moment, but I'm still waiting for that moment of Hakaiser stepping out of the shadow and finally presenting himself as an ally to the Zenkaigers. So we'll see what happens, but it was a little bit frustrating. I thought he was going to make that move like, hey man, if you're ballsy enough to hand over the data chip, you should have just made your presence known in this episode, but he didn't. I'm kind of curious as to the moment that he's waiting for to maybe join the Zenkaigers, or at some point in time fighting back to back with them. I really want to see that moment actually happen. But we got to wait for it, I think. I'm hoping it happens, but we definitely have to wait and see how that turns out. And then last but not least, Gigi, guys. Gigi's, what are you planning, dude? Like, what are you planning? It seems like he's just simply waiting for the fall of Bokawas. He's got one line in this episode, and he looks at the camera and he says, looks like it's almost time. Is homeboy like trying to stage a coup himself? Is he setting up Overlord Bokawas for a fall? Which wouldn't be a surprise when it comes to Gigi. Now again, there are definitely, I can't remember if this is grains of salt or there's at least suggestions or maybe a confirmation that Gigi will in fact be in the upcoming season of Super Sentai for Dawn Brothers as maybe one of the generals too. So I am curious to see what Gigi's connection is to not only that series, but how his actions in this season adds to that particular series, right? It feels like when you've got somebody like Bokawas who really just does not doubt Gigi at all, he feels like he's just the most loyal person on his side, and it's like Gigi can do no wrong in front of this man. If there was anybody that can definitely stab Bokawas in the back and he certainly not see it coming, it's definitely Gigi. So looks like it's almost time. He's waiting for his opportunity, man. Gigi's been working his magic behind the scenes, right? Like pulling the strings, getting people to squabble maybe a little bit more than they certainly need to, getting Bokawas to certainly trust him. That's the type of trust that happens just before the fall, man. So I'm really eager to see how Gigi with his plan and how it all kind of comes together. But overall, guys, probably one of my better episodes, if not favorite episode of the season so far, and I'm really eager to see how this season is certainly going to go ahead and wrap up. But listen, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I want to know yours. What did you guys think of Zenkaiger episode number 40? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below after this particular video airs. And if you continue to love our content, guys, do me a big favor. Not only subscribe to this particular channel, but also hit that like button and feel free to leave a comment at the end of this video. Definitely does go a long way. But until then, guys, no live episode of A+ Morphinominal this weekend. We are going to be taking a hiatus this weekend due to the holidays, but we probably will be back for New Year's Day, so definitely go ahead and look out for us then. But until then, do me a big favor, guys. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.